If you move to Austin from a place like California, Florida, or maybe South Carolina, then you know what I mean when I say there's nothing quite like a day at the beach. When I first moved to Austin, I didn't understand how important it was to have an escape from the intense sun. The sun hits differently here, I promise you that. When you're used to having a beach nearby, you put your toes in the sand, you hang out and you relax. That's a lifestyle. While I never really expected that was the thing to do in Texas, when I discovered that there were lakes and beaches in Texas, I was like, all right, let's go. But then come to find out that most of these beaches aren't actually beaches. It's like rock and then immediate water right after. In fact, I was in Hawaii when there was an announcement for a project called the Crystal Lagoon, and I was excited because I was looking at the picture and I'm looking at my surroundings and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is like the same thing. We're about to have a Hawaiian style beach in the middle of Leander. But spoiler alert, that never came to fruition. The project was dead on arrival. I think it had something to do with COVID. Doesn't matter. No excuses. It's not here. They ended up building one in Houston, though, if you care at all about that. But let's forget about the letdown. I do have you covered. We're going to talk about beaches in the Austin, Texas area. So if you don't want to hop on a plane, there's plenty of places in the Austin, Texas area where you can find a beach. When I say beach, I'm not talking about a swimming hole. I'm talking about sand in between your toes. It's really important. I have lists like this on ianofAustin.com for the beaches versus the swimming holes, and then restaurants and a bunch of other things. So let's start with the first one. The first one is Bob Wentz Park. So it's near Lake Travis, and it has a decent beach. The problem is that it depends heavily on water levels. The water levels, especially on Lake Travis, rise and fall pretty rapidly. I remember when I first moved here, there was 100 days over 100, but the water was aplenty, and the water dropped, and then it came back. About a year, 2 years ago, it was a drought. There was no water, and a lot of the marinas had to close. A lot of the homes along the water were going through like this fire sale situation. It was terrible. And so if you had a boat and you weren't on certain marinas, you just couldn't use it because the water was too low. Today, it's a lot better. I was out on the boat last weekend. It's fine. It's not perfect, but they're a lot higher. So like this beach area is probably great. Check out Bob Wentz Park. The next one I want to talk about is Immelong Metropolitan Park. What makes that one cool is not only does it have this beach area, but if you're into mountain biking, you can go mountain biking, hiking, you've got trails, you can walk your dogs, you can do all sorts of things, as well as just hang out at the beach. It's good because it's not really a long drive and there's plenty of space and parking for families to be able to go and have a good time. Have you heard about Valente Beach? It's not really just a beach. It's kind of like a water park, but it's a nice beach and it's also on Lake Travis. So it's 2 for 1. It's on the other side though, so you have to do some driving to get there, but it's great for families because they have slide, food, and it feels like a beach. It's not Malibu, but remember, we're in the middle of Texas here. And so the next one I want to talk about is actually Lake Pflugerville. And it's so funny because when Leander Lagoon or the Crystal Lagoon was getting ready to come out or was being announced, I was thinking, man, this is really cool, but it was a big project. So if you go over to Lake Pflugerville, it's a much smaller project, right? It's a little bit of sand, but it's still perfect for families. Any other time, it's great. You have a chance to walk around the lake. There's plenty of parking, barbecues, all that sort of stuff. I'll bring the dogs and they'll sit and run around in the sand. Swimming, that's a whole other conversation. But as far as a beach area goes, it's probably one of the best that we have. So that's the ones that are like just outside of Austin proper or in Austin. Now let's talk about a few hidden gems. Have you been to Pernales State Park? They have a really nice beach. It's a little bit more of a drive, and technically it's on the river too, but the sand is nice. You can hike, you can relax, and soak up the sun right there. There's another place called Turkey Bend, and it's like a rec area. If you are okay with a little bit of off-roading or you're adventurous, then you have a great spot that you can also go to. So it's another beautiful shoreline. It is on Lake Travis. So you let me know, do you have any others that you would add to this list? I've got a couple more to share, but I'm curious, where have you spent time or seen sandy beaches in the Austin, Texas area, or anywhere in Texas for that matter? All right, next, let's start talking about worth the drive beaches. If you have a long day or maybe even a weekend to spare and you're leaving from the Austin area. The first one is Port Aransas. A lot of people have heard of Port A. It's laid back. It's a classic Texas beach town. Everyone knows it. Then you have Rockport Beach. It has super clean sand and pretty clear water, so it's definitely worth the drive. My time in Rockport was a very different scenario. We went camping on Goose Island. It must have been the time of year or something, but it was raining caterpillars, and it was the caterpillars that are like fuzzy and I think they're poisonous. So I was wondering, what's happening? So it was tragic. We didn't enjoy ourselves, but the beach was fun. Then there's Mustang Island, which is a little more upscale. This is one of those beaches that you can drive on, which is really cool. It's probably one of the nicest beaches that I've been to in Texas, and the sand's really nice. Also, the water's pretty clear. Obviously, that's also going to be like time of the year sort of thing. And then there's Corpus Christi, like just the whole place, Corpus. So you'll notice when you get to Corpus, the water, it starts to get even clearer than some of these other places. Because you got to think about it. The Texas Ocean is in the Gulf. I was going to say Gulf of Mexico. Now, apparently, it's called the Gulf of America, but that's where the Texas coast is, right? And depending on how far south you go, the water gets better and better. The thing about Corpus is, I'm pretty sure that's where I was when I was attacked by jellyfish. You can't see them sometimes. There were jellyfish all in the water. I got one of those new snorkeling masks that cover your entire face, and I'm just having a good old time, and it just starts feeling weird, and I'm itching all over the place. Next thing you know, I've got lacerations all over my back like I was whipped. It was insane. So be careful if you're in the water like that. Don't let that stop you from having a good time, because I've gone many other times and it was a wonderful experience. That was just a one-off. As I was talking about going further south, there's South Padre Island. South Padre is probably the best beach in the Texas area for most people, and here's why. Because it's so far south, you're most in the ocean before you get to Mexico. Also, you can look over and you can see SpaceX that has a rocket just sitting right there. Actually, multiple rockets just sitting there and ready to launch, which is incredible. We are actually trying to time it where we could go see a launch. Timing didn't work out, but still, you've got a full rocket. Now, here's the thing. People don't tell you this. It's actually like an hour drive up and around to get to, there is another beach over there where SpaceX is, but I think they're going to close off that land. Right now, it's a public beach. I think they're going to close it off, which really sucks because it was cool to hang out there and you're driving right past the SpaceX facility. But even if you're not over there, you can sit at South Padre Island. They have a lot of restaurants. There are people that run up and down the main strip, kind of like Vegas, just having a good time. And sometimes you'll see them in golf carts. Sometimes you'll see them in those slingshot cars. And it's a bunch of people living their best life. There are a lot of college kids that go there too, and they might have a little too much fun for some, but there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So if you do have the time, I would absolutely recommend that you check out South Padre Island. Those are the beaches in and around the Austin area. We might not have the Crystal Lagoon, but you do have plenty of spots where you can still catch the sun, splash around, and get that beach fix you've been missing. Don't forget, I've got all this on my website, ianofAustin.com. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a subscriber. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. Maybe I'll see you in the next video.